Hello, welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for The Unexpected Pest, and with me today is a pest who actually was expected. He's my good friend Eli Copperman. Say hi.
It's good to talk about a post-shutdown Robert McKimson cartoon by Ted Pierce. Wait, sorry, Warren Foster? Hello?
Yeah, the writers were a little bit all over the place around this time.
They were still recovering post-shutdown, so why not have Foster contribute to another McKimson cartoon?
Yeah, exactly. And even Maltese contributes to a few as well. But just a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is for The Unexpected Pest, released on the 2nd of June 1956. It's the 771st of the series, and it's directed by Bob McKimson. You can find this beautiful restoration on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 4 DVD set, which has an audio commentary by Jerry Beck and June Foray, who does one of the voices here. They don't delve too much on the cartoon itself. It's more about her career, but I do note about how she worked with Bob McKimson in general, so it's still worth a listen, even if it's not quite relating to the short itself. I've got the high definition version. Hopefully that'll make its way on disc at some point. I don't see why it wouldn't. It's very safe. So there's that. But it is under copyright. I can't show you the full thing here on YouTube, otherwise the video just gets blocked. But in case you haven't seen this one, we have Sylvester being incredibly lazy, although he's very competent in this one, and I'll point out why in just a moment, where John and Marsha, a reference I'm going to go through in a moment as well, they are having an argument over Sylvester being a lazy cat because he's just too good at his job. There's no mice, so why is he even around? So sure enough, Sylvester frantically looks for a mouse and eventually finds one, and he orders him to be the mouse that Sylvester can constantly catch so that he can stay in this house. But the mouse realizes, well, the cat actually needs me. So, yeah, hilarity ensues afterwards.
So the moral of the story, kids, don't be too good at your job, otherwise they'll throw you out.
It's an interesting one because this implies, well, they don't want to own a cat unless he's getting rid of a mouse. But even though the mice are not there, isn't that a good thing?
It doesn't sound like the couple or even cat people to begin with. If their entire mindset is just to have him around to chase mice, I'm sorry, but even if there's no mice around for God knows how long, you're still going to want to keep a cat around.
See, I equate it to airport security. You're better off having it, not having issues, than just saying, oh, we don't need it anymore, and then an issue does happen.
Then again, we're both cat guys, so I guess let's just say we fundamentally disagree with John and Marcia here.
That's okay. Look, if we overthink it, I guess the short wouldn't work.
That's our job.
Exactly. So a few bits of trivia. The title is a pun on the movie The Unexpected Guest. And honestly, the title Unexpected Pest doesn't even make sense in this short because the mouse is expected because Sylvester finds this mouse to do his bidding, but anyway, whatever.
I can't even think of any other alternate titles, so whatever.
We'll just go with it. I was alluding to earlier the whole John and Marsha thing, so that's a reference to the Stan Freberg song from the early 50s called John and Marsha.
Hey, Marsha, why do we have to put up with that dirty old cat? Scratching up the furniture and making a mess out of the house?
Well, John, we got him to get rid of those mice, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
It's been referenced before in Looney Tunes, so Wild Wife, Punch Trunk, and this is also the reason why Stan Freberg voices less and less of Looney Tunes as time goes on, because he just got so busy. His star was rising, and
oh yeah,
he'll come back for things like Three Little Bops, to give an example.
Man, get ready, folks.
Yeah, I can't wait to cover that one. But yeah, that's the whole reason why, and I guess John and Marsha, they just used it just for bit of fun, I don't know, but anyway. But speaking of records, when you hear the mouse say,
"And away we go,"
that's referring to Jackie Gleason. He actually had an album at the time called And Away We Go. So yeah, but you know, watching this one, I have seen it before, but it has been a long time since I've seen it. And I remember this one being a stronger McKimson effort of the late 50s after the shutdown. Because as we all know, he got the worst of the deal when it came to the studio reopening. He had the animators who weren't as strong and so on. And we can go on and on and on about that. But here we have a very strong directing effort, in my opinion. Like, the shots work. It tells the story really well. And I think Warren Foster just happens to be a better writer in general than Ted Pierce. Pierce is a good writer, but he can be very hit and miss, especially in the late 50s.
Unlike Ted Pierce, I don't think Warren Foster succumbed to any vices.
Not long after this, Foster would end up going to Hanna-Barbera anyway. Foster just, at this point in time, was definitely the stronger writer, and Ted Pierce you know, on a good day would turn in a great script, and on a bad day would just turn in pre-hysterical hair and stuff like that. So that's why if you're watching this and thinking, wow, this is actually a really decent McKimson effort, probably because Warren Foster helped with that. But you know what this short reminds me of, though? Just in terms of the idea in general, it reminds me of the first Dodsworth short.
Well, slightly different in concept, but yeah, I can see the similarities.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a direct lift, mind you. They're both their own things where, you know, Dodsworth's so lazy, he actually gets another cat to catch a mouse. In this case, Sylvester's too good at what he does, but he's become incredibly lazy. I mean, we'll go through the short now, I think, from start to finish anyway, and just show just how great it is. So we have Carl Starling, by the way, does the score here. So we hear Home Sweet Home as John arrives and sees the dirty kiddie bowl outside with those fish bones that look very stylized. But we see Sylvester on the couch, and that whole shot of him just realizing that John is there, he's just saying, yeesh.
A lot of critics of Robert McKimson's post-shutdown cartoons notice the constant usage of the yeesh moment. Personally, I've never minded it too much. Here, it makes sense, and it's funny.
It's a perfect response. And by the way, if you guys want to know who animated what, our buddy Devin Baxter has supplied the actual animated breakdown sheet, and that is available online. So if you want to know who animated what, it's on that sheet. And I don't want to step on anyone's toes and say, hey, this scene is animated by this guy, and this scene is animated by this guy, unless it's something that stands out. So if you want to know who animated what, definitely check that out.
But there hasn't been a mouse around the house for months.
Yes, that's right, come to think of it. I'll call the society tomorrow and get rid of him.
Society? Rid of me? Suffering success! I gotta get a mouse to keep my happy home.
I guess like the next scene is the bit of Sylvester overhearing the couple on the couch and then falling over and then frantically pacing. Correct me if I'm wrong, is that by Ted Bonnickson?
Yeah, it's Bonnickson. You get a gold star.
Yay, I know my animators.
Some are easier to tell than others. Decent enough animator, I think, and he does a pretty decent job here, especially the scene where now Sylvester's like, oh, I gotta find a mouse. And I mean, we all know the cat and mouse shorts have been done to death by this point. I mean, there was a little known series called Tom and Jerry that barely anyone knows about today. No, I'm kidding, of course, but you know, it's all over. And I do like when they do a cat and mouse short, but at least they subvert things a bit.
Yeah.
He wants a mouse in the house.
It's for selfish reasons, but if you're fighting to not be homeless, then yeah.
Sakes alive, there isn't a mouse in a house. A lifesaver.
I like the animation of him being all frantic and looking around. In this case, Sylvester's actually competent, because the review before this one, it was Tree Corner Tweety that we did ourselves, and in that one, Sylvester was so incompetent that Tweety didn't even have to lift a finger, and he was failing gag after gag after gag, whereas here, it seems like he's too good at his job as a mouser. So, again, where's the consistency? Comic book guy would give this a 0 out of 10, of course.
How dare these cartoons be inconsistent? It's not like that they were made by completely different writers and directors. Thumbs down.
We see that Sylvester, when he actually notices the mouse, which I love the expression he does when he realizes, that's a great one to freeze frame, where he's just going, whoa, yes, there's a mouse, yes.
A life flavor.
So he walks over to the mouse, who promptly fades, and I just want to touch upon the mouse's design very briefly here. If you watched our review for Mixed Master, I pointed out the design of that dog, how it has got that long stringy arms and then fur on the top and bottom. The mouse, it's a similar concept, so whoever designed that dog clearly designed this mouse as well. I'm not sure who would have done it.
I love the extra meat on his arms and legs. That's not really something you'd see in really any mouse design, at least not around this time period.
But I like the out of touch where Sylvester is doing the whole squinty eye look that McKimson liked to do a lot, of course, but he brings the mouse in and even kisses the pillow.
I love that added detail. It's just like he's so happy that he found, in his words, a lifesaver.
Giving the special effects animator a bit of extra work to do to animate all those love hearts as well. Speaking of special effects animation, we see that Sylvester even brings the piece of cheese to try and resuscitate better than smelling salts, as Sylvester actually says.
Cheese works better than smelling salts for mouse.
We see that the mouse thinks he's in heaven, but no.
No, I must be in the other place.
And the thing is, I like how strong Sylvester is as a character. He's basically saying, listen, you work for me now. I'm your master. Otherwise, it's down the hatch.
I know. I'm in heaven. No, I must be in the other place.
Well, I'll tell you where you're gonna be, unless you do as I tell you, and that's down the hatch.
Basically, he sends the mouse to do the job. Say, your first job, you're going to scare the woman, basically.
First and only job.
I'll get in and scare her.
And I like the color change when we go inside the kitchen. I love the design of the floor, like just typical late 50s sort of aesthetic. You got the blue floor with the spots and then the yellow cabinets there.
Nice choice of a limited color palette.
So, as you'd expect, we see the mouse scaring Marsha, voiced by June Foray, hence why she's on the commentary track, I guess. We see that Sylvester acts like Tarzan, and yep, he's going to save the day, smacks the mouse, and we set everything up.
Marcia, what's going on in here?
Oh, John, we'll have to keep the cat.
Little nitpick though. I don't know about you, but I couldn't hear the Tarzan sound effect very well. No matter how many times I've heard the cartoon, it always sounds like they muted it a little bit. Not an issue with the cartoon overall, just I guess like a minor nitpick.
It set things up. We see the McKimson squint yet again. You just got to accept that at this point in time. Also, if you've seen a lot of Warren Foster shorts, they tend to have the same thing when they're more story focused. The first half of a short will be the entire setup, and then the rest will just go by really, really quickly.
Here, I think it's a bit more organic.
Exactly. But we see a beautiful little montage here, which does the job pretty well. We see that this goes on for, well, judging by the calendar, about half a month, or maybe a few weeks.
If this went on way longer, then that's one really stupid mouse. But the fact that it happened, like, not even after a month shows, like, yeah, I think the mouse has finally come to realize, wait a minute.
And even the color choices starts off with blue, then yellow, then green, then red, which shows off that the mouse is getting truly pissed off. They even reuse some of the animation from earlier on in the montage, which is completely fine. But we get to, as our good friend Manny likes to say, the meat and potatoes of this short, where the mouse realizes, okay, you actually need me. I'm now the master. He even does the whole thing where he makes Sylvester does the whole down the hatch bit, and Sylvester's like, no. You know,
it's like giving him a taste of his own medicine.
Why, you little... I'll...
You what?
Why, I'll...
Down the hatch? I dare you. I double dare you.
that animation is great. Oh, I think it's Bonnickson.
Oh, that's also Ted Bonnickson?
Yeah, it actually kind of reminds me of Sylvester's very first short where he doesn't want to eat anything, but then you got the other character desperately wanting to be eaten, so again, subverting that whole thing. The next bit, if you've seen some of the early Tom and Jerry shorts, you've seen this sort of thing before where Jerry realizes, okay, I can just mess up Tom now by making a mess or making noise, like to wake up a dog or whatever the case may be, or make a mess in a house so that their owner can kick out Tom from the house. So you've seen this kind of bit before. Does it make it less funny? No. But it's interesting seeing the execution from the different studios, and that's pretty straightforward. You've got the mouse just throwing down stuff to the ground.
Oh, pussycat. Goodbye, cruel world.
The bit of Sylvester, after he captures all those dishes, and then the mouse falls over, he freaks out and throws them all. I love the timing there. That is perfect. People may say, like, oh, the McKimson's later day cartoons weren't as broad or stuff. No, that is a really broad visual gag. It's perfectly handled.
And that's Russ.
Russ Dyson. His stuff was a lot more broad than, I guess, some of McKimson's other animators at this point. Like, I remember some of his shots for the Speedy Gonzalez cartoon, Tabasco Road, they were pretty darn fluid and like bouncy and stuff. Then this one is no exception. Russ Dyson didn't really do a whole lot more cartoons after this, but that's for another time. I'm not going to get into why.
Yeah, that's a bit of a story. You see the mouse even using an actual iron to try and off himself, but no, it ends up hitting Sylvester. And of course, the best one, because you've got to have a rule of 3, we see a stick of dynamite, which he throws out the door.
Are you flea-bitten?
Can we just say the expression of when John walks in, his clothes all tattered? That expression just kills me.
I love it when cartoon characters, their goose is so cooked and all they can do is try to look innocent. They did a similar gag in another McKimson cartoon from before, Weasel Stop, which I think was handled okay enough within the context of the scene, but here it's way more hysterical, just given you nearly killed your owner by throwing a piece of dynamite at him. Even though your goose is cooked, you should be lucky he's at least alive, dude.
We see the ending is, a little bit on the weaker side, in my opinion, but it's still got Sylvester walking along, looking all injured. And so did something happen in between? Did John just kick the living crap out of him or something?
Good thing this is just a cartoon. If John were real, I would have called the Humane Society on him for abusing an animal.
All of this is done by George Grand Prix, except for the close-up of the mouse. I gotta say, it's just an interesting ending where it's like he sees the mouse says, no, I'm gonna jump off the bridge. He pretends to do so, and Sylvester's like, yeah, good riddance, and he just walks off. We end right there.
Honestly, for all intents and purposes, the only thing that I have left to add is that this is definitely one of the better McKimson cartoons of the late 50s, but also just one of the better McKimson Sylvester cartoons. Most of the Sylvester cartoons directed by Robert McKimson, if they're not pairing him up with Hippity Hopper, they're pairing him up with Sylvester Jr. As much as I actually do like Sylvester Jr. as a character, I'm kind of glad that he doesn't appear in here. I can totally imagine another scenario, like same cartoon and everything, but Sylvester basically teaches Sylvester Jr. to catch mice instead, and the same scenario, but Sylvester Jr. realizes, wait a minute, I'm the only one catching mice, so maybe he and the mice team up together to outwit his father. That would have been a fine scenario, but I'm really glad that it's just Sylvester here. Unlike the Dodsworth cartoon, Sylvester doesn't have a little kid he can mooch off of or anything, so he has to use his own wits to survive in the house, and I think that's a really clever addition.
McKimson shorts, whether you like it or not, in the post-shutdown, hit or miss. We all know this.
Very hit or miss.
This one is definitely one of the stronger ones, even though I think the ending could have been a little bit stronger, but it's fine. I don't think anything is going to quite match the earlier McKimson efforts, but honestly, this one's fine. Look, this one gets, 7.5 out of 10.
I'm going to be even more generous to give it a full-fledged 8 out of 10. It gets the job done really well. As a concise story, it's actually pretty solid.
It's a short that gets the job done, solid story, and it would have been interesting seeing this one with McKimson's earlier animators, which you can do on that front. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
And good riddance, too.
After all he's been through, I thought he deserved a happy ending.